Hi, my name is Ruth McCauley and I'm with Flow Analytics. And today we're going to talk about how to build a web app for cemetery management using Arcgis Online and Survey 123. A little bit about Flow Analytics. We are an employee-owned GIS firm located in Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Denver, and Boston. I am in the Denver office. We are experts in the design, implementation, and use of GIS and data analytics solutions. We work across all sectors. Our Portland office mostly works in our school district sector, doing boundary review changes and population forecasts. Our Seattle, Denver, and Boston offices mostly work in the government and utility and nonprofit sectors. We work with some conservation districts. We work with cities, counties, mostly public works data, so water, sewer, stormwater. We are pretty much well versed in anything GIS. So for a cemetery application, you need to think about what data you currently have. So we've been finding that a lot of cities that we are doing cemetery applications for have been managing their cemetery on paper maps or Microsoft Access databases or Excel sheets. And it's just become too large to manage that way. Some cities have had AutoCAD data and some GIS data, but it's mostly been paper maps or Access and Excel tables. But anything can be converted and brought into GIS. These are two examples of data we've gotten for cemetery applications. So you'll see the top one on the left is a paper map with the blocks and lots split out. And then the names were provided to us in a separate table. And then the bottom right hand is a zoomed in paper map with the names handwritten on them. So when you start thinking about making a cemetery application, you need to think about how you want the end user to see the data. So the first step is to think about what fields you need in your cemetery data. This is an example of one of the cemeteries we've done. So most cemeteries are divided up into blocks, lots, and graves. There's usually a status, so whether a grave is occupied, available, there could be an unknown status, so it needs to be verified, and the grave could have been purchased but no one is currently occupying it. And then the owner or the person who originally bought the grave, and then the person who is buried in the grave. With the cities we've worked with, we've done about 4 of these cemetery applications so far. We found that there could be up to 4 people buried in a grave. That's mostly cremations. However, we've seen 2 people buried in one grave. Usually those are spouses or a parent and a child. So once we get the data converted from either paper maps or tables and we get a GIS layer created, and we get all your fields set up, we are ready to post it to Arcgis Online. Arcgis Online is an inexpensive way to get access to GIS software. So the first snapshot there is the 3 things you need in your Arcgis Online to create an application. So you first publish the layer, and then you create a web map, and then you create the web mapping application. Now today in the demo we're going to look at the end product, which is the web mapping application. And then the snapshot map you are looking at there is a published layer of all the graves and then the aerial imagery behind it. And we're going to look closer at that in the demo. So when you design your web app, again, you need to think about how the end user needs and wants to see the data. So the cities we've worked with have usually two applications, so one internal and one public application. So the public application is not available to edit. It's just for the public to search for relatives. And the internal application is for office staff to keep everything up to date in the cemetery. So let's go ahead and look at that. This is a demo application. This is for the city of Omak, Washington. And here's the outline of their cemetery and all the graves, and then the blocks and the lots. So this is all out of the box with Esri. Nothing is customized, so it's very easy to set up. And let's look at some of the things we've got here. So first, let's look at the layers. We have, that's from before. We have our grave sites and our blocks. And the grave sites are broken out by colors of the status. And then the blocks are those letters and numbers you see. So we've added a filter to show available grave sites for purchase. The city of Omak has people usually come into their office looking to purchase a grave. So this is a really easy way for them to see which ones are available. Turn that off. We've added a query. So you can type in, if you know the block, lot, and grave, you can search for that. So I'll show you how that works. It will find the grave and it will zoom to it and then show you all the info. You can also click on any of the graves and see the information about it. So you can see the person, there's one person buried in this grave, and they can potentially have up to 4. We've also added a search. So you can search first or last name. Show you how that works. So I typed in Smith. It pulls up all the Smiths it can find. So I want to go to Allie Smith. Click there and it will zoom to her grave. And then you can see all the info. If you wanted to edit this information, so if someone else was to be buried with Allie, click on the edit button, pops up the edit window, and then you can add the second person. Go down, add all this information in, and then you would hit the save button. We also added a Survey 123 form for a little more user-friendly editing. So you click on this Edit Grave link. It opens up Survey 123. Now, Survey 123 is it's another application within the Arcgis Online environment. It is free with your Arcgis Online subscription. It's the same login. So what we did for the Omak Cemetery was just grab all the same fields from the regular editing window and just make it a little more user-friendly. They can change the status, they can add in any other information, and then once they did, they would just hit the submit button and it would update that grave. If you wanted, you could change the base map. This is within the Esri environment. We talked about our Survey 123 form. So please let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to email me anytime. I will be in the booth on the 8th from 1 to 2. So I look forward to talking with you then.